Hi guys. Felt like I just walked down the podium. I'm back up here again. All right. So since we didn't get to do a hot, heated debate, I'm gonna use my hot and heated voice here when talking about things that I'm passionate about the most, which is about smart city in Thailand. And some of the projects that we've been working on has been quite interesting. Well, you see it by yourself. So I titled this "From Biases to Bites," which I believe to be very important matters because before we have data, bites, we use our biases, our belief, our familiarity with the problems to make decisions. And sometimes those are very good, sometimes those are very helpful, but sometimes those are not very, very supportive. For instance, this morning I almost missed my flight to Singapore because I used my belief that the morning time in Bangkok, I should be able to take a taxi to the airport really quickly. But turns out there was a big accident on the way. So I got caught in traffic for like 45 minutes. So I almost missed my flight. Had I used my Google map, any map actually, before I left my house, I would have known that there's a red line all the way to the airport and I should be taking the metro rather than taking a cab. I would have got to the airport nicely, spend some time at the lounge and probably have a glass of whiskey before I board. But turns out I have to rush and run to the airport. I almost missed my gate and my flight because I didn't use data. I used my biases, I used my belief. So let's see how we can actually turn this idea into how we can better design city for the people. So there's a city in the southern part of Thailand called Nakhon Si Thammarat. Many of you might have heard of it. It's a city of 1,000 years old. It has a lot of heritage. It has many temples, many shrines, and of course many churches as well. And, so people go there on a regular basis from all over the world to have a spiritual journey over there. But only in the past couple of years that the city have gained another reputation, which is a smart city of Thailand. In fact, a model smart city of Thailand. And the city itself just won the most prestigious award in smart city last year in Seoul at the Smart City World Expo Congress in Seoul. And the reason for that was quite simple. They invented something very new, but they didn't use a lot of money to invent it. Let's see what they did. So what happened was that the city has been facing with this problem for the past 20 years, right? The problems of flooding. It flooded every year, and to the point that people left the city because they didn't want to live in the places where they have to deal with the problem of flooding on annually. And a lot of people thought it was natural, because it's in southern part of Thailand, and of course, southern part of Thailand rain about 8 months a year, so you're gonna have flooding at some point anyway. So people thought that this was something unavoidable, until we recognized this one thing, that the problem of flooding has to do with the fact that a lot of waterways that used to be a natural overflow of water got clogged all the time. And it has to do with the fact that people throw stuff in there, in the waterway. Sometimes some trees that are cut down from their houses, sometimes big pieces of furniture, sometimes municipal waste they just throw into waterways. So when the waterways are not flowing, the flood happens. So we recognize these problems and we wanted people to be our supporter by sending us problems when they saw one. And the systems, if you are a good citizen in cities, was that you have to go to the city, you have to fill out this form over here, and sometimes if you have a photograph, you have to develop it. And they attach the photograph to the form and send it to the cities. Who know how to develop photograph anymore these days, right? So, but then again, that was the law, and that was how they used to do it. That's how they wanted to do it, and we didn't think that was the right way to do it. So what we did was to flip the script completely. We realized is that everybody has a smartphone. Everybody has an app called Line, which is the #1 messaging app for Thai people that the Thai people are using. So we flipped the script. Instead of getting people to report problems to us using the form, we actually get the app running. We designed an app as light as possible so that anybody with any phones can use, no matter how old your phones are. And what you have to do is to take a picture, write a brief description of what happened, and just send it over to us. And what happened was that we would look at the photo, we extract metadata from the photo, we get a GPS data from the photo, we got a timestamp from the photo, we also get verifications of the identity of the person taking the photo in one package. And with that, we are able to put together a map of problems, which in the past, it would have taken us months to actually do it with the staff that we have. So with the citizen reported, we crowdsource all the data from the people. This might not seem like a lot of benefit, but if you look at this, we turn this into a heat map. You start to recognize is that we're actually looking at patterns of things that are happening in space. So the purple area are the places whereby problems are getting reported most, And the yellow areas are the one that problems are less reported. If you zoom in, you actually look at the data from the top-down perspective, and you recognize is that if what you're trying to solve is a problem with waterways, the area whereby the purple intersects with the waterways are the one you should be sending your fleets to. And with this, we were able to actually use our limited resources, like the fleets that we had limitedly, to the places that matter most. And within the past 2 years, we were able to solve problems more conveniently, more effectively, and of course, more productively. And this is something that didn't cost much at all. I wouldn't even want to tell you how much this system cost. It was a fraction of what you would have to pay if you were to build a retention wall or a dam in order to prevent water from flooding the cities. So I'm happy to report that now people are moving back. Now investments are coming in, and of course, the cities are more livable than ever because of these small little efforts that we put citizens at the core and make the citizens our smart city officers to work with us and make sure that we can have a solution that works for everybody and work in the domain that everybody are happy with and convenient with. So we expanded it from just one thing to report problems with the flooding. We use it to help people with problems with bedridden citizens, with the potholes on the streets, with the problems with the waste management. And now within the past couple years, we were able to solve more than 99% of the 20,000 problems that got sent to us, and more than 70% of the citizens are on the platform and using them on a daily basis. And we're going to expand it. We're going to make sure that within the end of this year, more than 85% of people are on board, and they are part of the community of people using digital tools and digital means to actually solve problems on behalf of the citizens. At the core, we believe that cities shouldn't be thinking for themselves about what they wanted to do. Because in this sense, parents are like cities, right? Parents are looking at from above, okay, I love this, and the citizens should like it too. But in most cases, the baby are looking at it from the different perspective. So this is very clear that the baby are not getting the advantage and the benefits that the parents think they should be getting. So what we wanted to do is to flip the script. The parents would have to come down to the bed and sleep there first to see whether or not what you're giving to the baby is worthy. If not, then we go back to the drawing board. If it's working but not so completely, then we can fix things. Because if we don't do this from the beginning, then we're going to be spending a lot of money on things that don't really matter. And in Thailand, this is what we have been doing from the beginning. Our mechanism is to start not from the central government enforcing the smart cities domain and smart cities plan onto the cities, but the cities themselves thinking for themselves what is it that they want to do. They have to work with the stakeholders, including the citizens, and then work with us in the middle with DEPA before they get endorsed by the national government in terms of getting incentives in order to help them becoming better and smarter in many, many ways. So just to conclude, we believe that there are 3 things that are very important here from this case study here. First of all, technology has to be purposeful. Smart city is not a stage where people compete for who have better technology or who can showcase more drones and more robots walking the street, flying the sky. We want people to compete on who can actually use less but do more for the citizens. In which case, it's this very, very small thing that we did, but was able to solve things that used to cost us hundreds of millions of Thai baht in order to solve like flooding problems. So technology, first of all, has to be purposeful. Think about the purpose of technology, the one you want to use, and go for it. Don't go for the one that is more cutting edge, because as I mentioned in the panel before, we have so many cities that have a lot of 5G poles that nobody uses because they don't have any use case for it. In fact, last time I checked, my friend told me that if I use 5G, I can actually watch 100 Netflix movies at the same time. And I don't want that. That's not the purpose of 5G, right? So if there's no use case for it, maybe you're not ready for that technology yet. Second point, value over optimization, value over quantities. A lot of places, they're trying to emphasize the fact that they have so many technologies, so many layers of data, so many dimensions of the advanced tech that they are propagating around the country. But that's not the whole point. The whole point is that you only need a few things that are working. In this case, the 3 tennis balls that bounce are better than 10 that don't bounce anymore because they got in half just for the sake of quantity. So we want value and not just quantity. And last point, we want to think big, but we want to act small. Because if we think big and act big, we can fail big as well, because we don't have the proof that what we think big about would be actually working. So if you look at this app that I show you, the version 5.3 that just came out a couple of weeks ago, very different from the first version that came out in 2019. In 2019, there were only 2 buttons because the city didn't know what they wanted to do. The city didn't know whether citizens would like it or not. So they create this small little app that when you click the button, it leads you to Google Doc form. People hated it at the beginning because they didn't want to click one button and get led to another page whereby they have to fill in information. So we took in all the opinions and all the suggestions and we developed it. So we got to the version 5.3 where thereby there are 23 functions that people can use from reporting problems all the way to get appointment with the city halls. So you can do all kinds of things now. You don't even have to come to the city anymore to do things that you have to come to the city hall physically in the past. So just to summarize, we believe that people should be at the core of our smart city development for the reason that, first of all, we think people are very good when they collaborate. And we also think that people are actually very good at data, right? We all love gossips and tabloids, right? But if we actually use different kinds of data, not tabloids and gossips, but data we collect systematically and use that, we can actually make better decisions. So you don't have to rush to the airport and almost miss your flight like I did this morning. Data is gold mine, and with good data, you can make very good decisions. And last but not least, I think people are very good at doing things for themselves. So when we try to do something, start with what is it that will benefit them. Not what is it that benefits you as a city designer, as a city planner. What benefits them and work backward to the way we want it to become. And that would be the sweet spot where what the city designer want to achieve and what the people wanted to get for themselves come together very nicely. So people first, because we believe in that. Thank you so much.